Well, greetings, brothers and sisters of St. Paul's. Let me say, first of all, I'm just so thankful for your patience and your prayers and your commitment to one another and perseverance in the Lord Jesus Christ during these difficult days of COVID-19 isolation. I've said it a couple of times, I just want to reaffirm it, that I'm so thankful for the way the various ministry teams of our church family have just been working so hard to keep us connected together as much as possible, while at the same time looking beyond us to the needs of others and pointing us to the sovereign grace of the Lord Jesus Christ. Now, despite all the good things that God has been doing in us and through us, and there have been many things that He's been doing, there's no denying that this season has been tough. The removal of our normal habits and routines means that we are not on autopilot for a majority of our decisions that we make each day. We have to engage our brains up to 60% more each day as different and new decisions have to be made. And this alone is exhausting. Decision fatigue is a very real thing. And so right now, some of us are weary, frustrated, irritable, and a whole range of other emotions. For many, mental health has taken a significant toll. And even as restrictions start to ease, we're noticing that life isn't going back to what it was. Some things are familiar, but other things are very much changed. More decisions have to be made, but now with less capacity. In some ways, in fact, it feels harder coming out of COVID-19 lockdown than it was going into it, with all the adrenaline that accompanied it. Now, many of us would be aware that as of this last Monday, our government has increased the number of people who can gather for religious services to the number of 50 plus those who need to run the service. Now, our reaction to this news will vary. What are we going to do? Will we regather at St. Paul's? Some would be very keen for that to happen. They're just tired of listening to themselves, but others are fatigued. And it's simply another decision that has to be made that wasn't even on the radar a week ago. Now, since that news hit us, I've been meeting with the St. Paul's leaders to discuss what are our options. Will we come back? Will we not come back? How will we come back? The first thing I think that's really important for us to understand is that we need to manage our expectations. When we do start gathering together for corporate worship at St. Paul's, it's important to realise we won't be restarting, we won't be resuming. We will in fact have to be relaunching. The St. Paul's that we left a couple of months ago will not be what we come back to. There'll be many things that'll be familiar, but there'll be a lot that will change. You see, until a vaccine or a cure for COVID-19 is found, we most likely won't be singing in church. We have to have our seating spaced out. We will need to sit as family groups. We will need to vacate the building immediately after the service to minimise the risk of transmission. And on top of that, to accommodate the restrictions around social distancing, we need to change our service structures and add a second morning service to allow our church family that we had before COVID-19, plus any guests, to gather with us across a Sunday. Our Sunday gatherings are going to be quite different, and we need to be prepared for it. So in considering all these things, my position at the moment is that we in fact gain more as a church by not gathering for corporate worship on the St. Paul's site right now. Deeper fellowship and singing connections can be conducted in homes with live streaming of services. You see, the government allows us to gather up to 5 others in our homes, of course, if you are comfortable with that. And our homes are not subject to the 4 square metre social distancing rules of our public buildings. Of course, hygiene and social distancing should be practiced. And so for this coming Sunday, as an example, my home, my family will host another family for worship and for a meal and for fellowship with one another. But know this, as we move towards relaunching at St. Paul's, we seek to be a church that works together to protect everyone, that follows the laws of our land, that encourages faith and love and hope, that promotes maturity in the Lord Jesus, and is a good witness to our neighbours and our community. Now, make no mistake, I desperately want to relaunch into the next season of life at St. Paul's with you. But know that I want to do it safely, patiently, thoughtfully. I want to be considered in this matter. The easing of restrictions gives us some opportunities, but not many. But it gives us opportunities to put to test our systems and our procedures for managing COVID-19. And so rather than start by gathering multiple generations together for corporate worship, what we're going to do is start by bringing back one generation, our youth ministry, Fridays. Start with that as a group. We're also going to bring back one community group that hasn't been able to connect via Zoom for the last 2 months, that really needs to start connecting with one another. So friends, know this. We are wanting to take slow and deliberate steps to ensure that we are able to keep people safe. Now, my plan from here is to start with these 2 groups and then open up with others if we feel safe, it is safe to do so, and to also sense what is happening in our community as more and more people go back and larger groups start to gather. My plan from here is to keep communicating with you every couple of weeks with updates at what is the next phase for us in relaunching St. Paul's and pursuing our vision together as a church.